Here we're going to learn how to graph exponential functions. At the top of the page, you can see your formula and what each of the letters mean. I encourage you to pause this video, write these in your notes, and ask a teacher if it is still confusing. Hopefully, once we do an example, this will make more sense. So the first thing we're going to do is identify the parent function. The parent function is identifying the base along with the x. So the x is in the exponent, that's what makes it exponential. And the exponent is attached to the 3. So I'm going to put a 3 in my parent function. Now, my x's are always going to be the same thing for my parent function. It's always going to be -2 through 2. I get my y's by plugging in all these numbers into x. I encourage you to start with 0, go to the positives, work back to the negatives. With my parent function filled in, I'm going to look back up to my formula. I'm going to identify my a, h, and k. And in words, I'm going to write down what all these letters and numbers are doing. So the first thing I notice is that in the a position is a -2. Now the negative and the 2 do two different things. Notice, if it's a negative a, it reflects over the x-axis. So that is one of my transformations. The 2 is a vertical stretch because it is larger than 1. If it was a half or a third or a small number between 0 and 1, then it would be a shrink. In this case, it's a stretch by 2. Now I need to identify my h and my k. So my h is up here, plus 1. So I know it's something by 1, but, and I know it's a horizontal because it's attached to the x. Now the tricky thing is it going left or right? Well, notice the negative in the formula. So this is a -h. What would I plug in here to make it show up as a +1? Well, I would put a -1, right? So it's actually a -1 h, which is left. Horizontal shift left by 1. Now k is a little simpler, it's -5. So it's a vertical shift down by 5. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to identify anything that's horizontal and put it in my transformations. So here's my x and here's my y. Now anything that's horizontal, I'm going to make a note of, and I'm going to attach that here. So if I'm going left 1, that's simply -1. Everything else goes with the y. So the -2 a value and then the -5k value all go with the y. This will make a lot more sense if you just practice it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause now, and I'm simply going to plug in. I'm going to take my -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2, and I'm going to put it in for x. Now I highlighted them in blue, and I put this as blue so that hopefully it's clear where it's coming from. Now, yes, because these go like 1, then the next, and the next, and the next, this will also go 1 to the next, the next, the next, -3 through 1. And we're going to take all my y values and plug them into y now. Now it's dealing with fractions, so I know it's a little tricky, but that's what you get when you plug in all the y's into here. Now I'm going to simply take these and I'm going to just graph them. And the other thing is, this is going to impact my asymptote. So my asymptote shifts down 5, and then you're going to see these points graphed, and that's your answer. So this is the parent function. Remember that the base is a 3, so it is a growth, since the 3 is larger than 1. Asymptote at 0. And we're going to see a stretch, a flip, and then a shift in 2 directions. So let's see what that looks like. And that is my answer. Did you see everything moved down 5? And everything flipped over, and it stretched a bit. And it also moved left. You see that this point here kind of came over here. This point here went left and down 5 and flipped. And these 2 little fraction pieces are over here, and they did go left and down. So this is your answer. Answer will look like. Notice that you have your parent function here. You have your transformation in words, transformation from a table, and your final graph answer. And identifying whatever points are here, you've already done. Now, a couple of things to note. Asymptote at y equals 5. This is a growth. It is a domain of all real numbers and a range of y less than 5 because all the values are below my asymptote.